Hey everybody, I am back today with a spread in my Ancestry album. I am going to be doing 2 pages with you today, and I'm going to be using my How to Kill a Kit with Style for April, May, and June. I still have loads of this kit left. I think I've only done like maybe 3 projects, including this one, so we have some work to do. I am going to be using that awesome mailbox die from Honeybee Stamps. I haven't used it yet. This is the first time I used it, and it's so cool. I love how this double page spread came together. So these are all of the die pieces. And what I'm using is Catherine Pooler's Gold Pigment ink, because this die has a lot of embossed detail, really cute embossed detail. I cut it out of this dark brown cardstock, and I'm gonna use the gold ink to kind of make that raised detail pop. You can see here I started doing it with the ink pad, but honestly, you know what worked better? In a couple minutes I'm gonna quit and just use my fingers, and that worked way better. So I was able to really kind of get those embossed areas with my finger, and that worked really well. I also have plans. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. Okay, so ramble alert. I'm going to ramble here for a minute. I have a stack of layouts, with products and pictures and all ready to go right on my scrapbook desk. And one of those layouts is a heritage layout, and I'm going to use this post box, but I'm going to cut it in white or creamy maybe, so that I can use some ink blending and really make those embossed details pop, because I think that embossed detail is really cool. So this is, again, I decided that the finger was working okay. The direct to ink pad wasn't working real great. Let's try my domed ink blending tool. That seemed to work really well. I didn't want to use a brush. That wasn't what I like my blending brushes, but sometimes, in this instance, it was not as nice. So we're going with the domed ink blending tool. So this came together super easy, and it worked exactly the way I wanted it to. I really wanted to use it to add some interactive hidden journaling to layouts, and it worked perfectly for that. So that made me super happy. I cut all of the little gold metal details with gold mirror cardstock, and that turned out really nice. And the gold mirror cardstock, I really like it. The one that I'm using right now is from Brutus Monroe. It's part of a big precious metals set that they have, and it's very nice. So I'm going to add all the details to the front of the mailbox before I attach it to the back. So I set the top of the mailbox aside. I want all the glue to dry, and I want all the pigment ink to dry, because I did actually put a lot of ink on there before I go ahead and work with the back. And you do have to attach it so that you can slide your journaling or your little postcard into the slot. In the meantime, I'm going through all these papers, and I decided that I really want to use this acetate piece from Hambly that was part of my kit. So we're going to pull that out. This is a good stash busting pocket page project here. This particular Hambly design is actually it is set up almost like four 6x6 styles, which is really cool. I'm going to use 2 of them, 2 of the different styles, those 2. Actually, I don't remember if I used that one that's real heavy or if I used this one. I know the one with the circle I didn't use, but I used some combination of these 3 right here. Now I'm going to go through this Honeybee Stamps 6x8 Vintage Love paper pack, and I grabbed some papers that I thought would look really nice with the overlays on top. I actually don't remember if I used this one or if I flip it over and decide I like the other side better. So I'm going to just kind of go through here and choose which pattern papers I want to use and how I want to set up these pockets. So what I have is I have 2 4x6 pockets and then 2 4x4 pockets. You can see here I have a little post-it note telling me what I want to put in each of these pockets, and I have some photos today. Quite often when I work in my Ancestry album, instead of like photos of people, I have photos of documentation or things like that, but I actually have a photos today. The photos I'm using today are photos that I won't be scrapbooking or adding to my 12x12 heritage album. Mostly when that happens, it is because the photos are really low quality or they were really hard for me to digitize. They don't look the best, so that's when we kind of match them up with stories and put them in the Ancestry album. You can see I have all my journaling already done, and that will be true for both of our projects today. So this first page, this is the front part of this page is about my grandmother's Aunt Dorothy, and so this would be my great grandfather's siblings. This is the other one of my great grandmother's siblings, if that makes sense. In addition to this kind of photograph of him, I also have his World War II draft card that I have printed as well. And I'm actually going to just tuck that draft card in behind his photo. So when I mat this, I have the 4x4 pattern paper. Then I have the overlay. Then on top of the overlay, I'm adhering the photo, but I'm only adhering the photo on the edges on 3 sides. And that way I can tuck the little draft card behind his photograph as an interactive kind of piece. You see it, you can kind of pull it out and look at it if you want, but you don't have to. And that's what I'm doing with a lot of this Ancestry album. In this album, there is a lot of things that you can pull out and read and look at and those kinds of things. Kind of trimming everything down, making sure that the little draft card goes in and out okay, and then I can slide it into the pocket. And there's the bottom pocket. The top pocket is going to have the journaling, and then I am using what is basically like the leftover piece from the overlay that's on my bottom photo. So I got both of these overlays I was able to use. I'm gonna put so the overlay goes on the pattern paper, and then on top of that I'm putting all of the journaling. And I do end up adding a couple of flowers for this at the end, but for now I just want to get the basics of these cards into place, all the important information, and then I can pull them out of the pocket, and I'm going to add a little bit of decor in a little bit. And for that decor, I'm just going to grab some die cuts. These are from Simply Stated Designs. They were part of that kit. This is their February monthly kit. I haven't even dug into March's or May's kit. They're gorgeous, absolutely stunning and beautiful, but so many products, so little time, and this is why we do a spending freeze in June. So I'm going to end up adding, I think, 3 little die cuts to kind of create a visual triangle like between both of the cards, the top card and the bottom card, and I think it turned out really, really good. So that is going to be that page, and my pigment ink and glue is definitely dry on that post box because I let it sit there that long. All right, let's talk about this photo quickly, just so you guys know why this particular photo is not going into a 12 by 12 layout. So this photo is one that is pretty, it's a little damaged, and what you might not be able to even see is this is a photo of my great grandmother. She is on the left. My aunt, great Aunt Dot, is on the right. And on my Aunt Dot's lap is my grandmother, who is who is playing with the cat that's sitting on my great grandmother's lap. It's a really cute picture. But since it is old and it's been time, I cannot get my grandmother to be shown up. Like, you can sort of see her. She's like just this little blob. I know it's my grandmother. The back of the photo tells me it's my grandmother, but you can hardly see her at all. Even in the original, you can't see her. So I opted to do the best I could with this photo. I put the original into, in museum quality archival boxes. So the original is saved. But I can't get my grandmother to actually show up in the photo. She's just like a big blob. So, it is what it is. That being said, this is only one of 2 photos I have of my great grandmother's sister, Dorothy, and it is the only photo that I have that has my great grandmother and her sister, Dorothy. So I do want to still document it and have it. And I also had a good bit of journaling and a story that I wanted to tell that relates to both of these photos. So I wrote that whole story out onto some journaling boxes that I slipped inside of the post box. And you can see there's the post box all done. And I have my little journaling cards that I slipped into the holder. I put the post box and the photo on top of the acetate piece, and then I'm going to flip, and I can flip the acetate piece over and put the adhesive where the photo sits and where the big post box sits, which will work out really well to hide the adhesive. I also have another photo here that I'm going to document. Both of these photos together relate to the story I wrote in my journaling. And I am going to keep that story private. So I'm not going to talk about it. Mostly because people in these photographs and in the story are still alive, and I don't feel comfortable with that. Like, just putting their stories out there. So we're just going to go with this configuration. I know that the post box is going to stick out the top. So I'm working on these 2 cards almost as though they are one full 6x8 layout. And that way I'm not going to put anything on that top card that is then going to get completely covered up by the post box. I am going to go ahead and make sure that as I set down my embellishments and things, that's what we are working on, and making sure that when I put everything together, nothing important is going to get covered up by that post box. So I have a photo for my top card. I'm going to go ahead and put all of these pretty die cuts around the photo and around the card. Again, keeping mindful of where the embellishments are, so that when I put the card into the pocket page, it's going to fit nicely. And these 2 Ancestry pages are then done. I am so glad you joined me today for the pages. If there are any available products that caught your eye, if it's available, I will link it in the description box below. I actually need to buy myself another 49th and Market. This is a little bit of a ramble. I need to order another 49th and Market album because my first Ancestry Journey album is almost full, but I'm not done telling stories. And I always kind of thought I would end up with two, one that would have all of my all my maternal side in one album, and then all my father's side, my paternal side in one album. But for now I had put them both into the same album, and the album is getting a little bit on the chunky monkey side. So I think we might need to go ahead and grab a second album. I hope you have enjoyed my video today. Here are all of the close-ups. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye.